Alright, Planet Earth, so before I get started today, people have been asking me why I think that the girls were running naked through the woods in episode 1, and I've been saying that I think it's a hoax, that the girls didn't depart, that they actually ran away, and that Erica's in on it, and the reason that they would have been running naked through the woods was because they were practicing for their escape, right? I mean, this is what you do. You strip your clothes off, you get in the water to get your scent off of you in case they send search dogs after you, and hey, you run naked through the woods to wherever it is you're trying to go, maybe to the preacher who left town right when they disappeared. Hello, Planet Earth. Welcome to my YouTube channel. We're at IDK, my BFF Jill 730. I'm Preston L. Young, wishing you warm salutations and congratulations as always. You've made your way to the Buffington Post. Today I'll be taking a break from Buffy, and it's time to review The Leftovers, Season 2, Episode 7, A Most Powerful Adversary. And I come to you today with no notes because it's Monday afternoon, I've seen this episode 3 times, and I still have no idea what to say about it, so I'm just pretty much going into this blind. So, with no further ado, let's just jump into A Most Powerful Adversary.
Sing me to sleep. Sing me to sleep. I don't want to wake up on my own anymore. Sing to me, sing to me. I don't want to wake up on my own anymore.
Alright, so I asked for more Jill, so I guess we'll talk about Jill first. Okay, so I asked for more Jill, but Jill's kind of a dick, isn't she? She talks to Kevin like he's just a piece of shit. She's barely wanting to help him at all. She immediately jumps on him for Nora's leaving. She talks to her dad later through the episode, and hello, she's just a dick at him. And I get it, like, Kevin's not perfect, but when you take him and put him next to Laurie, he looks like a much better parent. Like, let's face it, this dude's been with you through thick and thin. He tried to give you this new life, and you don't like the way it's working out because you just want to blame him for everything. Jill really comes across as a dick in this episode. Like, Laurie, when she sees Laurie, I can understand her being a dick to Laurie. Like, I would probably be a dick to Laurie. I don't know. It makes sense for her to be lashing out at Laurie the way she is, but at the same time, the way she treats Kevin, it's ridiculous. He's trying his best, we would hope, right? So we find out that she and Michael are, like, fooling around. I didn't realize it had gotten, like, serious, question mark. It's not so serious, apparently. But, yeah, apparently he won't seal the deal with her because, hello, he just met you. And P.S., you don't respect his religion at all. She has no respect for his faith. She just acts like a dick because she's mad at her dad, which, again, is just a dick move on her part. I get it, like, Nora and she had begun to bond, and she feels kind of closer to Nora than she does to Kevin at this point, but Jill, you look like such an asshole in this episode. It's ridiculous. And Nora. Okay, Nora went through a whole lot of bullshit with the rock throwing and everything in the last episode. I'll give it to her. However, how mature do you look to just up and leave when you find out your boyfriend's kind of crazy? It's so fucked up of Nora, and I really feel for Kevin in this episode. Well, we're supposed to, but it's just, they call Nora the honey badger, over on the Living Reminders podcast, which you should be listening to, by the way. You can find it on Stitcher or iTunes. Living Reminders, they're awesome. But yeah, they call her the honey badger, and the honey badger just doesn't give a shit. So what the heck? Like, why can't you just try and see through this? You've been through enough crazy. I get that you really don't want any more, but hello, you live in the leftovers land. Shit's gonna be crazy. Nora just needs to, as Morty of Rick and Morty would say, like, find a bag for her shit and get it together. Like, get your shit together. Now, I think it's safe to call The Leftovers a melodrama, right? I mean, it's beautiful and it's artistic, but it's pretty melodramatic. And the whole world really is just this crazy, crazy world. And in that respect, it's very much like Lost. And in that respect, Kevin is very much like Jack Shephard, especially in this episode where he's talking about he can fix it, right? Like, that's what he keeps telling Jill. He's going to fix it, just like Jack his wife says you always need something to fix. And so what I love about The Leftovers is also what's starting to get on my nerves about The Leftovers in season 2, which is it feels so very much like almost a sequel to Lost. It just feels very Losty, and I love the show. Don't get me wrong, it's one of the few shows that I actually keep up with. I think about The Leftovers during the week because these characters make me think, and these episodes make me care. So I love what it's doing, but when it feels so much like Lost that I'm looking for as many kind of losty explanations to things, it worries me. And if it's going to continue to do this as season 3 and 4 come upon us, I just worry about how many people are going to tune out because they feel like they've already seen it. But given what I just said, this episode was the opposite of Lost. In Lost, they just kept giving you questions and questions and questions. And in this one, we get all of Kevin's answers, but they are all contradictory. So a few episodes ago, I talked about how I think Patti is more or less real-esque, as I called it. But just because people are real doesn't mean you can trust them. I trust, people who I trust, but I don't trust them all, despite the fact that they are real. Like, just because somebody's real doesn't mean that they're trustworthy. And Patti, Kevin says, okay, just tell me what you want. Like, is there something you want me to do? And Patti says, oh, get this chalice from Cairo. And we're thinking, oh, Cairo, it's all making sense from last season. And she says, fill this chalice with your cum and drink it down. And she's just bullshitting us. Patti is an enigma. And throughout the episode, we're getting different answers about Patti. People can't see Patti when they go to get his cuffs off. Jill didn't see Patti, but she also didn't see the sign in the chair, which is something that I've been wondering about. If Patti was there and Jill was looking, glancing around the room, she probably would have noticed this thing, like this sign that says, hey, there's a key under your pillow, but Kevin doesn't see it and Jill doesn't see it. Like, where does that make sense? Contradictions throughout the episode. Michael apparently knows about Patti. And keep in mind that Michael is the one who sent us down this crazy path to go and meet Virgil in the first place in this episode anyway. So how shady does he look when it all goes south, right? He says, I'm gonna go with you, we're gonna go to my grandfather's house, whatever, and it's just super weird. Okay, so Virgil said that he sensed Patti, like, hanging on him like saran wrap and all this good stuff. Virgil, he brings Kevin into his home and he basically says that Patti is something that is holding on to him, not in him like a possession, but just holding on to him in order to kind of go through this world with him. And he says that the only way to get rid of it is to basically go to a different plane, like a less lively plane of existence, if you catch my meaning. And he tells us that when he told him this the first time, when Kevin was supposed to be sleepwalking or whatever, he didn't want Virgil's help, and this is how he ended up in the lake with this cinder block and a rope around his ankle. And he says that you either have a guardian angel or you have a most powerful adversary. So, what is Patti? Virgil is saying that Patti is, bad news either way. And we find out that Dirty Santa, Jesus, Santa, Moses, the guy in the pillar, apparently called Edward, he's supposed to be this success story and all this good stuff. And so, Laurie, we find out from her, of course, that I was totally right about, the whole Tom ran out on her because he didn't like being the holy cow. And yeah, so she comes looking for Tommy, and it just seems super weird that she's here, by the way. Doesn't anybody think it's super weird that Laurie's just in Texas? Like, why would she assume that he went to Kevin? He hasn't had anything to do with Kevin. Anyway, Laurie comes in, and he goes to Laurie to talk to her and say, hey, this is what's going on. And he tells her everything, we presume. So Laurie presents a very good argument that she's not this crazy cling wrap spirit thing, that she's just a figment of his imagination because people need to conjure things up in order to deal with reality, and hey, you're having a psychotic break, which makes total sense. But at the same time, Patti doesn't make sense.
Laurie
can try and explain away these things as much as she wants, telling us that she did tell Kevin about these things that Kevin thought he shouldn't know about Patti, and Patti won't show up around me because she knows I can prove that bitch ain't real. But she said that he just wasn't listening, so maybe they just went into the back of his head. She says that he needs help, and he asks her to give him this help, and she says, yes, I will. And I don't know how much of this is because she wants to see Jill, and how much of this is because she cares enough about Kevin to really try and help him, but there it is. He brings her into Miracle because she still has his last name. So I'm not really sure how that even really matters because they are divorced, but anyway. Suffice it to say that all the answers we get about Patti contradict the other. Like, every one seems to be the right answer, but then it's just not. So, Patti, real, not real, I don't know. Laurie says that it's just because he believes that she's real. And Virgil says that she's real and you have to battle it out with her on this dead person plane. So I don't know what the deal is. I guess what Virgil's trying to say is that if you die, it'll give you a chance to escape Patti because she won't have anybody to cling on to because you'll have died as well. I don't know what the fuck. So of course we got to talk about John. Kevin goes to John to get him to use some bolt cutters to get him out of his handcuff predicament. But interestingly enough, the bolt cutters aren't there. Now, are these the same bolt cutters that the Dutch guy, I don't know, the Swedish guy, he gave Matt some bolt cutters? Are they the same bolt cutters? Because the other firemen don't understand why they would be missing. So let me know what you think. I'm guessing they're the same bolt cutters, but I don't know why that would be important. Anyway, so John is teaching all of the men in Miracle how to make, like, turkeys with their hands, right? Now, he's taking their handprints, and Kevin volunteers to give him this incriminating evidence, and of course, Patti calls it out, right? So throughout this episode, we're seeing that Kevin is his own worst enemy. He's going to everyone else for answers instead of just trying to sit there and deal with Patti. Patti, in the end, she tells him, yes, I want you to drink this poison and fucking kill yourself. And also, something that Patti said was that Virgil was a pedophile, which is one more ringer in the I didn't just make her up out of my imagination to cope with reality thing, because I don't believe anyone has said that Virgil's a pedophile. However, that would make a whole lot of sense as to why we are dealing with this whole murder situation and why somebody would want to murder Virgil, right? Right. Patti says, I want to do battle, and then she says, yes, I want you to do this, but then she tells him, no, Kevin, stop, Kevin. Contradictions throughout the episode. I don't know. It's so crazy, and this episode was just pissing me off the whole time because of this. But when he drank that poison and then Virgil shot himself, this was me. Until it went black. Because Michael comes in and he's not even surprised by this? Like, what the fuck? Michael is weird. When Evie went missing, he didn't seem surprised. He didn't seem sad until, like, the very end. But he was just kind of like, sister's gone. And now he walks in and sees this whole scene and he's like, granddad shot himself in the face. White guy's dead. Oops. What the fuck, Michael? I don't know. The whole thing is just super weird with Michael. I don't know what the deal is. I'll tell you what I did like about this episode, though. The interaction between Kevin and Laurie, I loved it. Amy Brenneman, she is such a good actress. That scene where they're up by the bridge and they're talking between the fence, and then she realizes that she shouldn't have come here and, like, start up Kevin's whatever. You see it on her face. She feels so guilty about being there. And then in her hotel room, we see that scene, and they're just so intimate with one another. You really get the feeling that these characters know and understand and respect one another because they love one another when it comes right down to it. And it's really weird. I don't necessarily like that Laurie's there. It doesn't make a whole ton of sense to me, but at the same time, It's nice to get to look at Kevin and Laurie last season. That's the only time we saw her and Kevin really speak to one another, except for when she hollers Jill, but that's a whole other story. And to see them here just talking like adults who know and respect one another, it was really nice. And I just have to give it to the actors. They really create a good gravitas for those characters. Another thing I really liked were the performances from Virgil and Patti. Patti, you never know what to think because everything that comes out of her mouth, half the time I just assume it's a lie. And she didn't tell Kevin about him going to see Virgil and not remembering. That's the craziest. Like, why wouldn't she tell him unless she were real? Question mark? I don't know. But the actors here, Virgil, he was looking crazy, but at the same time, he had this real sincerity to him where it seemed like he believed what he was talking about, but then he lied to us and just poured out the antidote? I don't understand. It's so crazy, but it's the leftovers, and it's one of the things, like, I'm not loving the cliffhangers. I wanted more Jill, and give me a Jill cliffhanger. Even, just make her be less of a bitch, I guess. We didn't see much of Nora. We didn't see much of Erica. Oh, we didn't see any Erica. But what we did see of Nora was neat. Is she at the Pastorium? Like, is that where she is? I don't understand, like, exactly where she is, but it doesn't really matter where she is. Like, the whole punchline is she's not here today. And I like what they've done with Patti, that she has literally become Kevin's guilty remnant. She is just this thing that sticks with him because he did it, He's the reason that this woman decided to take her life. And by the way, quote of the night definitely goes to Patti, who said, "You're the one ruining your life. I just get to watch." And she called herself a guilty remnant, but now she really is his own. So I like that part about season 2, I will say. The Pixies make their return, and I like the way we transitioned from the Laurie's version of Where's My Mind into Kevin's version of the straight-up song Where's My Mind. Thought it was really neat. It allowed for those characters to have that bond just through music, and it really came across well. I have to give it to the composer of the episodes. They know what they're doing. This episode just felt like a kick in the balls the whole way through. We kept getting answers. We kept getting answers that contradicted the first answers. And like I said, Jill was just kind of a dick throughout. And I have really mixed emotions. I really can't rate the episode, but it's just like, what the fuck? Kevin's dead. He killed himself. And we know he's going to come back because can you have the leftovers without Kevin? I don't know. But we saw Michael go, holy shit, in the preview for the next week. So obviously, I don't think Kevin's going to stay very dead, which is another thing that just kind of annoys me. But whatever. I was still like, I'm not going to give up on the leftovers because, hello, it's beautiful. And just because I don't understand it doesn't mean I don't love it. So that's all I've got for today, you guys. I hope you're having a great 2015 so far. I'm Preston L. Young. You can come right back here to the Buffington Post anytime. I've got Buffy the Vampire Slayer reviews, Angel and Faith reviews, Buffyverse discussions on the other Slayers, my continued Season 9 coverage, and the last 3 Season 2 episode reviews of The Leftovers. So have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Sing me to sleep, sing me to sleep. I don't want to wake up on my